Let's ride, baby. Let's ride.
The Purdue women's basketball team is off to a 2-0 start. The Boilermakers with wins over Western Kentucky last Wednesday and yesterday over Western Michigan. Purdue will host Dayton on Saturday, but first they'll be traveling to Illinois State Wednesday night. That'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern time tip-off, and we'll have that broadcast and all the basketball games this season right here on Bob FM. But tonight we got the head coach with us to talk Boilermaker basketball. We're on Facebook tonight, as always, on the Purdue Athletic site, so let us know where you're watching from and if you have a question for the coach. And a little bit later on in the show, we're going to be talking with sophomore center Rashea Kyle. But first, we're going to have the head coach with us. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We'll be back right after this. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Here is Cassidy Harden, an upperclassman leader for Purdue. And right away, Layden knocks down a triple. You really like what she has brought to this program, Megan, although early in the season has really made an impact.
I'm just so impressed with the fact that she's transferred as Harden lets it fly from three and knocks it down. Cassidy Harden, this whole entire team catching fire from beyond the arc.
Interesting test here for Western Michigan as Madison Layden gets into the passing lane and takes it all the way to the cup. Ellis on the kick out, wide open for Harden, and she buries it. 5-0 run now for the Mustangs out of the timeout. Head coach Shane Klitfeld. Harden this time from the right side.
So for that opportunity, it has to be so amazing to be able to step up into that chair and be in charge of the program.
Terry on the kick out. Layden left wide open, and she drills another. That is Layden's third triple.
Impressed with how much composure they're playing with and how well they're playing together despite so many new players. They've got a great swing cut.
Layden finishes now 13 points for Layden. No fast break points yet this afternoon from Purdue. Ellis on the baseline. Whips it out to Harden. That's a three. We talked about it, Megan. They didn't have a whole lot of continuity and time to get to know one another in the preseason last year. How about that shot from Cassidy Harden, playing big in the backyard.
Great execution by the Boilers.
10-point lead for Purdue. And another three goes down, that time from Abby Ellis. And the regular season home debut for Katie Gearlds as the head coach. And right away, a dish underneath to Madison Layden. She now has 15.
Some high tops.
Some high tops with some flash.
Looking fly for the first game as a head coach at Mackey Arena.
Layden.
And welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. The last time that we talked to the coach, she hadn't coached an official game at Purdue. You have now. You're undefeated. You haven't trailed yet, so you can retire now happily. We can throw the banquet, and all's good, right?
That's what I tell you. Let's have the banquet right now. I'm ready to hang them up.
Let's talk about those games. And first, you started off the Western Kentucky game, or actually the same way you started yesterday's game, on an 11-0 run. It's always good to get off to a good start, but when you can build a good cushion early, it's going to take some of the nerves away.
Yeah, and honestly, at Western Kentucky, what they showed us, we weren't prepared for. We hadn't seen anything on tape, and for us to come out and kind of handle that and go 11-0 to start the game, it's a good thing because we only win by 10. And same thing against Western Michigan. You know, we start 11-0 and only win by 8. So good thing for the hot start. We just got to continue to, let that roll for the next 40.
You talked about Western Kentucky doing something you hadn't seen or didn't expect. Basically, what they did is they trapped. As soon as you got the ball into the front court, they threw a couple of players at whoever had the basketball and tried to get you out of rhythm offensively.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that, actually. We weren't comfortable, and Madison picking up 3 fouls in the first half, that was a big loss for us. In the second half, we let her inbound the ball, and she just brings a kind of a calmness about her. And you look at our roster, I mean, we're pretty young out there. Not just young, but inexperienced. And I thought that showed. But for us to be gritty and find a way to win on the road in that environment for our first game, I mean, showed a lot of character about who we can be.
You know, you mentioned the fouls. It was a game that really, from the opening tip, had zero flow to it. It really didn't have any. There was no rhythm because there was so many fouls called. There were a lot of turnovers, a lot of stoppages in play. And I look up with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. You have 5 players with 3 fouls each, and these are players that you need on the floor. So you got to be looking, thinking, how can we make these next few minutes go pretty quickly?
Yeah, it was a lot of game management there, especially in the second half. I was wondering if I needed to go get my shoes and put them on too, but we found a way. And you know, everybody that stepped up at that, Jayla Smith grew up quite a bit in that game on the road. I think she just showed her potential. I mean, she's got star written all over it. All over her, and you know, she's still got some growing up to do, as do we. I mean, all of us. I mean, you look at our team, we talk about it all the time, the inexperience. You know, Shea played 7 minutes a game last year, and she played 26 yesterday. And then you look at Madison. You know, yes, she's a sophomore, but her role has completely changed. The dynamic of our team and everybody's role is like just magnified to the nth degree, and being on top of that, it's been a whole coaching change, and everything is just brand new.
Yeah, I thought the most impressive thing, though, Wednesday night, you had a big lead early, and then they made a real run at the end of the first half, got it down to 2, and then they had the ball to start the second half. They got a chance to tie or take the lead and really get their crowd going. You never let them get the lead, and you got the momentum back and actually built the lead up to as many as 17 points.
Yeah, we talked about it at halftime. You know, just we need to make sure we got a stop to start the second half, and we did that. And then, you know, I think Madison hits 2 threes in a row, and then Brooke hits one, and we kind of stretch the lead. And we're up 15 with about 3 minutes to go, and then some careless turnovers, you know, that allow them to get it to a 10-point, you know, just a 10-point margin for us. But, you know, we'll take it. Any win you can get on the road. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. You know, we're playing against teams that they're all putting their shoes on the same way. They're all Division I college basketball players, and we understand where we are, and we've got to make sure that, you know, we're never going to be the favorite. We're going to be the underdog most nights, and we've got to play with that kind of, you know, that kind of mentality every game. One
of the things that has to give you some calm, though, is the fact that your point guard, Abby Ellis, is one of the top free throw shooters in the country last year. She was in the top 10 nationally, 86%, and she goes to the free throw line Wednesday and hits 9 out of 10 from the stripe.
Yeah, and I think she missed one yesterday, too.
She did.
I told her, I said, that's it.
That's it. 9 of 11.
Two, that's all you get all year.
Well, and you know, she wasn't alone. She had double figures with 17 points. You mentioned Madison with 13 points. And Jayla Smith, and I think Jayla brings a different dimension to this basketball team. She scored 11, but she really flashed her athleticism at times.
Yeah, she got her hands on some balls there on the defensive end, and was able to get out in the open court and you know, get some buckets when we need them. When we were struggling, she was able to do that. She's different than pretty much anybody on our team, with being, you know, with her length and athleticism. By far has the best vertical on our team. And like I said, she's got star written all over. Just if she wants it, she can get it.
The steals that she got on Wednesday night, she had 4 of your 12 steals, but she averaged 4.5 steals a game her senior season in high school. So she's used to pilfering the basketball, and I'm sure she got a lot of her points in transition in the high school ranks.
Yeah, she did. And I mean, it's not lost. Jayla's a great shooter too, and she's still getting comfortable playing with a longer line and you know, a deeper line and a faster pace. And once she gets it all figured out and things start to click, the sky's the limit for that kid.
All right, we're talking with Coach Gearlds. We'll have more of the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. After this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
And beating Wisconsin for the second time this season. What does Boyer and the Badgers have to say about it? Pounded over by Boyer on the serve. There's Johnson, popped up by Demps. Hilly over to Ojo, rolls one over. Handled by the Boilermakers. Bump set, here's Newton. Stopped by Barnes. Hilly runs it to Redkey, reaching for it. It's near the net. It's tapped over by Bush. Demps waits for it. Hilly gets it back to Dana. This time more controlled, and it's popped up off the floor on match point by Hornick. Newton with the swipe. Demps with the stop. Redkey runs, tries to push down the line. Dugout Otek, left side. Newton popped up. Boyer off the board. Barnes saves it, and a free ball. Wisconsin lucky to keep it alive. Newton for the match. Boyer with the stop. Brought back in play by Barnes. Here's Ojo shoving it over. Free ball Purdue again on match point. Left side to Newton off of Barnes, and Purdue does it again. The Boilermakers beat the Badgers for the second time this season, and Wisconsin has company atop the Big Ten standings. Now a 3-way tie.
He's putting in another defensive player. He feels like defense is critical. saved a sub so that he has 3 back row players that can really do a good job in the backcourt to defend the ball. He's putting in another defensive player. He feels like defense is critical. Saved a sub so that he has 3 back row players that can really do a good job in the backcourt to defend the ball. Raven Colvin, gosh, I love that player.
We are tied in the 4th set, not anymore. Purdue off the challenge has grabbed the 23-22 lead.
Bush sealing the net perfectly.
Allie Hornung again with Purdue on a 3-0 run, trying to win in 4. Cook puts it down, and it is match point Purdue. Crowd staying in it, but they have to be stunned. McGraw keeps...
Hey, Madden fans, the Level Next Madden National Championship esports tournament is streaming now and is sponsored by Unilever, which will donate 1 million meals to Feeding America. Watch the best college student Madden players compete for $100,000 in cash by watching on Twitch. Just search Level Next GG. Were you a video, or have you been a video game player at all?
Mario, like
old school.
The original Nintendo,
the original,
right?
yeah. I think I did a little Frogger.
Yeah.
Space Invaders when it came out.
Maybe some Atari back in the day.
Let's take a look. Lori says, great start from Remington. She likes the casual look the coaches are rocking, and we've noticed not only the Purdue staff, but a lot of staffs nationwide have gone to the more relaxed look on the sideline.
Yeah, sometimes I miss the heels because that's kind of how I get the attention of my team, but it's nice rocking J's and just being comfortable over there for sure.
Hello from Wisconsin. Lori says she's proud of you. Great to see you in the old gold and black again. John from Littlestown, Pennsylvania wants to know the story on freshman Sky Williams. We've talked about Sky. Actually, she was here last week at the show. Ankle surgery over the summer and still trying to recover from that.
Yeah, and she had a little bit of a hiccup and had to go back in and get some things tightened up again. And she's working hard every day to get better. Obviously, taking care of her academics. She's great on the court for us in practice and all that. But you know, she's got to get better, and we'll see what happens.
And our good friend Brianne watching tonight from Fowler, Indiana. Always great to have her watching. All right, let's take a look at the home opener yesterday, 70-62 over Western Michigan. And you liked it so much in Game 1, you did it in Game 2. Jumped right out 11-0, and I thought moved the basketball tremendously well in the first half.
Yeah, it was. I just think our pace and controlling the tempo there for the first 20 minutes was really good. We had 15 assists to 5 turnovers at halftime. I think 15 assists on 17 made shots. I think the two other baskets were Madison in transition and Abby in transition. So for us to play in the half court and really move and pop the ball like that was really the way we want to play.
It's great to get open shots. It's even better to hit open shots early. When you hit those first couple, the basket starts to get wider, doesn't it?
Yeah, we run a little quick, little action to get Madison one right off the first set play, and she knocks it down, and then in transition we just run a little transition set, and Cass comes up and first 2 go down, and then you can just feel the energy in Mackey, and everybody just kind of relax and just we're able to play basketball. We talked last week, Madison Layden's going to have to do a lot of things for you. Scoring is certainly one, but what we've seen the first couple of games here, she can rebound the ball, and she's been a big factor on the boards for you in the first 2 games. Yeah, we challenge her every day, not just to rebound on the defensive end, but to get in and give us some second chances on the offensive end. But there's not anything we don't need from Madison. We need everything from her, and whether it's scoring or just facilitating her presence. We've asked her to sometimes guard the other team's best player with her length, and she stepped up to the challenge so far. 2 games in, she's probably playing really, some of her best basketball, and I just think she's just going to continue to grow and grow.
You like to see your team get tested. Well, maybe you don't like it, but I think it's good for your team to get tested in certain situations. And they had a player yesterday get red hot in the second half, Lauren Ross. You're going to see that throughout the season. I mean, you're going to face some pretty good competition in the Big Ten. Maybe a lesson learned on how to try to slow down a player who's got the hot hand.
Yeah, we talked about it on the staff during the game. It was never something we were going to jeopardize the win for, but we wanted to see our team grow throughout the game without us having to call a timeout and just allow us the opportunity to mature and grow, because there's going to be times when we don't have timeouts or we can't stop the flow of a game, and they're going to have to figure things out on their own. And it got a little sluggish there. And the one thing we often talk about is, like, we're going to go through these spells where we just don't make shots. We just got to be grittier on the defensive end. And that kid Ross, she got it going on us. But hey, we started 11-0 and found a way to win a game.
You know, she was the kind of kid, too, if you have her on your team, you love her. She's probably the kind of player that is tough to play against, and if you're a fan in the crowd, you can instantly not like her, but she played hard, and she really helped will them back into the game.
Yeah, she did. She made a lot of good plays for them, and, you know, it's fun to be on the road as a player and, you know, start to get the crowd on you, but she led her team, and, you know, thankfully for us, we had got off to a really good start in the first half, and then the start of the second half. You know, Shea gets 8 points to start the second half, and I just told her she was probably cherry picking out there because I've never seen her sprint down the court so much. But no, just excited for our team, and I think you know, I said it yesterday. It was day 59. Today's day 60. We'll get better.
Well, you know, you talked about Shea. One of the big things we've talked about for these first 3 shows now, when she's on the floor, she can be a real impact player. The key is keeping her on the floor, and she was able to play her career best yesterday in minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, she's 6'6". Basketball's really simple. Let's throw it to her and let her turn and score. You know, she's got to be able to keep her conditioning the entire year, and she's got to stay out of foul trouble for us. But she did a really good job guarding without fouling yesterday. I mean, she finishes with 19 and 8. Those are numbers that we really like from her. And in 26 minutes, probably maxed out for her. She did a really good job, and, you know, hopefully that continues.
All right, we'll have more from the coach in 2 minutes. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. This is Boilermaker basketball from Lear Field.
Ball played through. Steffens. Patrick able to disrupt. Ball is kicked off of Patrick and recovered by Bova. Away by the defense. In Chicago, they play defense per the Ramblers. And that ball is dangerous. Opportunity and just outside. They find Griffith. Griffith 1v1. Uses the scissor move. Gets free. Left foot. Fires it off. And it's in! The Boilermakers are going to the second round of the NCAA Women's College Cup off of the left foot of Sarah Griffith. A brilliant curving shot.
The game of basketball has always meant more here, and it's always meant everything to me. It's been my passion, my obsession, my first love, and the thing I've always been best at.
Gearlds averaging 5.5 assists a game.
And Gearlds gets the offensive board, puts it right back up and in.
I learned something along the way.
Individual honors really mean nothing to
If
me.
you surround yourself with greatness, you can become great
No
yourself.
one can take the state championship away from us, and it's just awesome.
A state title, Indiana Miss Basketball, Big Ten champion, the Elite Eight, the WNBA, national championship. All these dreams realized. Basketball has taken me around the world, and now it's brought me back home. Back to the greatest school in the greatest state in the country, the Boilermaker States. Now it's time for the next chapter, for new dreams and a return to greatness.
The head coach for your Boilermakers, Katie Gearlds.
Let's ride, y'all.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. Little housekeeping before we get back to the coach. There is no show next week, next Monday night, because we're playing a basketball game next Monday night. So the next show is 2 weeks from tonight. That is November 29th. In between that, we're going to have 5 basketball games. This Wednesday, Purdue is at Illinois State. That'll be a 7 o'clock Eastern start, and we'll be on the air for all of these 15 minutes before tip-off. Saturday, the Boilermakers will play Dayton at 6 o'clock. John Herrick will fill in for me on that one. I'll be up at Wrigley Field, hopefully watching the Boilermaker football team win another game. Next Monday, I mentioned Marshall will be in town for a 7 o'clock tip, and then Purdue goes down to St. Petersburg, Florida, to play a couple of games down there. They'll take on West Virginia on Thanksgiving Day at 5 o'clock, and then we'll face either Florida State or BYU at either 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. And Brian Jennings will have those games, all of those games on Bob FM, so you can tune in to those. You're always, with basketball, looking forward to the next game, and it's a one-game season and all that stuff, but you also have to have an eye on the future. Last week you signed your first official recruiting class, 3 players coming into the fold. Lily Stoddard, Addison Potts, Noah Holser. Let's start with Lily because she's in state. big post player from Crown Point. What are you getting with her?
Yeah, length, athleticism. I mean, 6'4". She's actually put some muscle on. She's getting stronger. But you're just gonna get, kind of like a Giselle. Like, she's just gonna run, right? And she's gonna be able to be on the top of our press when we can eventually get that in. But her ability to run, and we're gonna get a rim protector. She's a great volleyball player, and her ability to block shots with both hands is gonna transition well to our level.
The latest player to sign, or actually not to sign, but to commit to you, was Addison Potts. She's out of Florida. Had originally committed to Missouri. They had a coaching change, and you were able to get her, intercept her, and bring her to West Lafayette. What will she bring to the floor for you?
Scoring. Addison can really do it all. She's got good size, good strength. You're going to look at her and not think she's really athletic, but she's a really good athlete. She's got deep range. She can hit a pull-up jump shot, get to the paint, great court vision, just gives us another offensive weapon. And then I think she's going to be a pretty good defensive player just because of her strength and length.
And then you go across the pond. You've got a player from the other side of the world in Australia, and we've got players from other countries, and now you're going to add Switzerland to the mix. Noah Holser, a guard from Switzerland.
Yeah, just a point guard. And obviously you look at our roster, and it's nice to have Abby on our roster. And, we've been sliding Janae and Madison there, but to have somebody else on our roster that can play the point. And she's actually on a pretty good team with a really good point guard from Michigan State right now, and so she's learning quite a bit. And she's just basketball knowledge. I think when you can play the European style game, you got to be able to think the game, and that kid's going to come in and she's going to fit right into how I want to play.
You're already looking, obviously, at 23, 24, 25 players. I think are you out of space for this year? Can you take another player coming up for this upcoming class?
Yeah, I think we're done.
You're done?
Yep.
Well, that's a good thing. Yeah. Now you can really look ahead to that.
Yeah, we it's every day. Obviously, we're building towards the future, but I like the makeup of our team right now. I like how hard they're playing. I hope the fans enjoy how hard this team is playing, and playing for our staff and playing for each other. You look on the court and you see a lot of smiles out there, and it's something that I told Beth yesterday during the game. I just love coaching. I love being on the sideline. I love coaching, and I love watching our team compete and play as hard as they are right now.
Katie, I ran down that list of the games coming up. This is kind of the schedule you're going to have during the Big Ten season, where you play 2 and sometimes 3 games in a week. And, it is a one game at a time and a one-game season, but you've got to be able, whatever happens on a given night, the next day it's got to be erased.
Yeah, I mean, in anything, right? Like, you can never get too high and too low. You got to keep that even, Steven. And obviously you learn from wins and losses, and but at the end of the day, you've got to turn the page and get better. And turn it. The next game is the only game that matters, and that's got to be our focus. And right now, the next game is Illinois State. And that's the one that matters.
All right, we're going to give the coach a breather. When we come back, we'll have Rashea Kyle join us here. It is the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Mackey Arena, season opener in front of what will be a sold-out crowd. 25 sellouts in a row for the Boilermakers.
There's just a whole different vibe and energy in the building tonight. You can tell everyone realizes this game counts for the record books. This is a highly anticipated season for the Purdue Boilermakers. Lofty expectations, and everybody in the building is ready to get it going.
What was your expectation level to play in front of 15,000 people?
I really wasn't sure, honestly. I've never even played, I don't even think I've played in front of 1,000 people before, so, I mean, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea how I'd react, but I liked it a lot, honestly. It feels great. I mean, the fans here are welcoming, make it feel like home. They're helping you, they're yelling at you, supporting you. When you're not doing as well, they're yelling encouragement and stuff like that. So it's really just, it's great to be in.
If you're worried about playing time and you're worried about starting, he worried about the wrong thing. You know, I mean, if Purdue wins, I think that's all that matters. You know, I'm trying my best to, you know, continuing to trust Coach Painter and, you know, hit the rotations, because in reality, you know, he wants to play everybody, but, you know, everybody can't play. You know, as a leader, as a senior, somebody who's been through it, you have to learn how to accept roles. You know, obviously, Coach will switch it up throughout the year, but it's definitely a maturity thing for me. And you know, all you can do is just be happy for your teammate.
It is time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are boiler made. We've talked about some of the basketball players. We'll mention one more this week, and we talked Aya Traore, playing in Spain. Her team right now is 5-2, and through 6 games, she's averaging 13.5 points and 6 rebounds per game. But we wanted to mention some of the women's volleyball players who are playing professionally. And again, congratulations to the Boilermakers for 2 great wins last week on the road against top 10 competition. Purdue up to number 6 this week in women's volleyball. Danielle Catino is playing for Team USA and playing on the MTC volleyball circuit. Ashley Evans is also playing with Team USA, and she's on a team in France where she is setting well for that squad. Annie Drews, we know, won an Olympic gold medal this year in the summertime, and she's also got a club team in Japan that she's been playing very successfully for quite a while. Sheridan Atkinson has been playing for a team in France, and she also plays for Athletes Unlimited. That's a pro league where basically the players don't have a particular team. They just move around every week and play for different teams, so it gives fans everywhere a chance to see players. Another player in that league is Val Nickel. And Val is, by the way, doing a color this year for Purdue women's volleyball along with Kyle Shondell. So congratulations to all of them, and we'll try to keep track of them as the season goes on. We're keeping track right now of Rashea Kyle. She is a sophomore from Marion. I got a chance to meet you and your mom during your official visit. How has your first year and a half been at Purdue since you got on campus?
My first year and a half has been an amazing experiment, especially with KG being my coach. She's an amazing coach. Yeah, I like KG.
You know, you look over at her and smile. I think that's the one thing that we've seen probably more on the court this year than we've seen in a while. You look like you're all having fun playing basketball right now.
Yeah, we are having fun playing basketball. Our chemistry on the court and off the court is really amazing. KG's really involved with us, and so are our assistant coaches. This year so far has been really amazing.
Let's walk back before you got to Purdue. You come from Marion, Indiana. You played both basketball and volleyball in high school. When did you decide that basketball was going to be the sport that you were going to really try to specialize, or at least to try to go to college with?
I decided that my junior year of high school. Actually, when my coach was my uncle. He coached me my junior and my senior year of high school, and I used to always work out with my brother, and he used to tell me that I was really good at basketball. I mean, I knew I was good at volleyball, but I always had more love for basketball.
You mentioned your brother. Your brother played at both Western Michigan and Tulsa, so you had to know a little bit about how the recruiting process worked. Was that a help that one of your family members had gone through that process before?
Yeah, actually, he went through that process. My uncle did when he played at Kentucky, and so did my auntie when she played at Toledo. But, yeah, my brother was an amazing help, though. His recruiting process, I used to watch and learn from him all the time, especially when he went to Western Michigan his first year of college.
So when you were looking for a school, and Purdue's one of your suitors, and there were other schools, what were you looking for, and what did Purdue have that you really liked?
It was a family aspect, and then it was also close to home. I like when my parents and families are able to come and watch my games. And, yeah, the biggest part for me was that it was close to home. I wanted everybody to be able to come watch me play.
So what's the drive like from Marion? I haven't done it to Marion in a while. How long does it take these days if you're going around the speed limit now?
It's just about an hour and a half. It's not too far.
You know, that's just about right, though. It's just about right where your mom can't just pop in all of a sudden, right? I mean, it's just far enough away that you got a little bit of autonomy, but it's close enough that if you need her, you've got her. Your high school career was fantastic. You were one of 47 players in Indiana history to score 50 points in one game, and Rashea was actually one of the top 100 scorers in Indiana high school history with over 1,800 points. When you make the adjustment going from high school where you're always going to be the tallest player, now you're still the tallest player on the court most times, but there are a lot of people that are closer to you than maybe there were in high school. What was the biggest adjustment for you?
The biggest adjustment for me probably was the court size. I've always had a little problem with conditioning, but the court size and the physicality for me was the biggest adjustment.
You mentioned the court size and the numbers, but you got 26 minutes yesterday. That's the most you've played at Purdue. How tired were you at the end of the game yesterday?
I can't even lie. Towards the end, I was tired, and I didn't realize that much until after the game. When I had got on the phone with KG, I'm like, I'm feeling a little tired after this game, but yeah, I was tired.
19 points will take a lot out of you, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk more with Rashea when we come back. It is the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Here is Cassidy Harden, an upperclassman leader for Purdue. And right away, Layden knocks down a triple. You really like what she has brought to this program, Megan, although early in the season has really made an impact.
I'm just so impressed with the fact that she's transferred as Harden lets it fly from 3 and knocks it down. Cassidy Harden, this whole entire team catching fire from beyond the arc.
Interesting test here for Western Michigan as Madison Layden gets into the passing lane and takes it all the way to the cup. Ellis on the kick out, wide open for Harden, and she buries it. 5-0 run now for the Mustangs out of the timeout. Head coach Shane Klitfeld. Harden this time from the right side.
So for that opportunity, it has to be so amazing to be able to step up into that chair and be in charge of the program.
Terry on the kick out. Layden left wide open, and she drills another. That is Layden's third triple.
Impressed with how much composure they're playing with and how well they're playing together despite so many new players. They've got a great team, but
Layden finishes now 13 points for Layden. No fast break points yet this afternoon from Purdue. Ellis on the baseline. Whips it out to Harden. That's a three. We talked about it, Megan. They didn't have a whole lot of continuity and time to get to know one another in the preseason last year. How about that shot from Cassidy Harden? Playing big in the backyard.
great execution by the Boilers.
10-point lead for Purdue. Another three goes down, that time from Abby Ellis. And the regular season home debut for Katie Gearlds as the head coach. And right away, a dish underneath to Madison Layden. She now has 15.
Some high tops.
Some high tops with some flash.
Looking fly for the first game as a head coach at Mackey Arena.
Layden.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. We're talking with Rashea Kyle. She is a sophomore from Marion, Indiana. And we haven't talked about your major. What do you plan on doing with your major? And once basketball is done, do you have any idea what you'd like to do?
My major is early childhood education. And when this is done, I want to decide to maybe go to play in the WNBA. And if that doesn't work, maybe overseas. But I really like children, so maybe be a teacher one day or a coach.
You got to have a lot of patience now to do that. Are you a patient person by nature?
A little bit.
Yeah?
A little bit.
Well, we'll find out here before too long, right? Let's talk about this team. Now, you played last year in every game. You came off the bench, played all 23 games, so you got your first start opening night here against Western Kentucky. Any jitters coming back into the starting lineup, which I'm sure you were your whole time through high school?
A little bit. I mean, I was more so ready. I was ready, but I'm a little nervous. But when I got in the game and got to going, I was fine.
Tell us about this team. Now, we know that you want to be a little bit more of an up-tempo team and get some shots up for a post player. What does that mean for you, and how do you have to adjust your game to come to a new style of basketball?
For me, as a post player, I need to be able to run the floor for my teammates. We do play at a high tempo, and we do got point guards who can push the ball and people who can run our run in transition really good. So for me, that means I need to be able to get quick touches around the rim and be able to run the floor really well for them. You
know, the other thing we talk a lot of players about, and when they come into college situations, there's a lot more scouting. You know, in high school, again, you're probably going to be the best player on the floor most nights against whoever you're playing against. But now you're playing against pretty good competition. How hard is it to get used to following a detailed scouting report and making sure you stick with that through a game?
I mean, it's hard at times. Sometimes, like if this game is fast, like you said, it's hard to remember maybe which way to keep a post player. But I've been doing a pretty good job so far with that. But I feel like I can do a better job, and I feel like I've been adjusting well, though.
My broadcast partner was a post player at Purdue, and she says that big players always get picked on by the officials. Like anytime that there's any contact, they're always going to call the foul. You've had to have had some of that in your time. I mean, I would assume anytime there's any contact, they're going to assume it was your fault. How have you been able to play through that?
Well, these first couple of games, like when we played Western Kentucky, I was in foul trouble. But this last game when we just played, I felt like I did a real better job of keeping my hands up. But like you said, you do get called a lot for being a post player and all the fouls, like getting the contact stuff.
Which is more exciting for you, scoring a basket or blocking a shot?
I would say blocking a shot, but I like getting and ones though. I get really hyped, me and my teammates.
Well, there you go. There's not a lot of time for things away from once you get your schoolwork done, get your basketball done. But when you do have some spare time, how do you like to spend your nights or spend your weekends?
Watching Netflix with my teammates.
Favorite show or shows?
I like Wentworth a lot on Netflix.
Now, are you a binge watcher? You do try to keep up if shows come out, or do you watch them all at the same time?
I'm a binge watcher because of like college and stuff that I don't really have time with schoolwork and all that. So I be binge watching a lot of my shows.
All right, well, we're going to get the officials to try and, be fair to you all season long. You stay on the floor. You're going to have a great season. Rashea, thanks for stopping by tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll be back with the head coach in 2 minutes. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
Ball played through. Steffens. Patrick able to disrupt. Ball is kicked off of Patrick and recovered by Bova. Away by the defense. In Chicago, they play defense per the Ramblers. And that ball is dangerous. Opportunity and just outside. They find Griffith. Griffith 1v1. Uses the scissor move. Gets free. Left foot. Fires it off. And it's in! The Boilermakers are going to the second round of the NCAA Women's College Cup off of the left foot of Sarah Griffith. A brilliant curving shot.
The game of basketball has always meant more here, and it's always meant everything to me. It's been my passion, my obsession, my first love, and the thing I've always been best at.
Gearlds averaging 5.5 assists a game.
And Gearlds gets the offensive board, puts it right back up and in.
I learned something along the way.
Individual honors really mean nothing to me.
If you surround yourself with greatness, you can become great yourself.
No one can take the state championship away from us, and it's just awesome.
A state title, Indiana Miss Basketball, Big Ten champion, the Elite Eight, the WNBA, national championship. All these dreams realized. Basketball has taken me around the world, and now it's brought me back home. Back to the greatest school in the greatest state in the country, the Boilermaker States. Now it's time for the next chapter, for new dreams and a return to greatness.
The head coach for your Boilermakers, Katie Gearlds.
Let's ride, y'all.
Back at Wolfies here with head coach Katie Gearlds. By the way, thanks to OG Dave and all the folks here at Wolfies for taking care of us every week. Again, we won't be here next week, but we'll be here 2 weeks from tonight. And those of you who watch the Jeff Brom show, that'll be on this Wednesday, but next week it'll be moved to Tuesday night because of the Thanksgiving week schedule. So we'll try to keep everybody straight and make sure that we've got the shows on the right night. It was a great weekend for the women's sports at Purdue. Not only did women's basketball win a couple of games, but we mentioned the women's volleyball team. 2 big wins over Wisconsin and Minnesota. The women's soccer team had a double overtime win in the NCAA tournament. We were on the runway in Columbus at the end of the runway, ready to take off. Now, I'm not going to say it was me. It was somebody else who still had their phone on, even though you're supposed to be in airplane mode. And as we are getting ready to rev the engines to take off, somebody yells, "Goal," because Sarah Griffith had just scored to give Purdue the win. It was, believe me, the highlight of the day for all of us on Saturday.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's to say not to say the least. But what a weekend!
Yeah,
women's soccer, and then volleyball. I mean, there's wow. You know, if we got big shoes to fill, but we're going to chase them down.
Well, and I don't want to leave out Emma Tate. Emma Tate from here in West Lafayette finished 25th at the Great Lakes Regional Cross Country Run. She qualified for the national championships this weekend.
Yeah, unbelievable. Just good stuff going on here in Boilermaker country.
You know, one tidbit that we didn't mention before, through 2 games, your team has hit 18 three-pointers. We believe that's a program record. We've gone back into the, I say we, Ian has gone back into the books. We can't find anybody who's hit more. So, yeah, you're going to take some shots from the outside, but if you're making them, they're good shots.
Yeah, they're great shots. And the ones we've got taking them right now, I want them to keep shooting it. And, I mean, everybody watched me play. I shot it a lot, so that's kind of the way I coach too.
You know, I've noticed a couple times yesterday when your team was in transition and all of a sudden they scooted off and maybe didn't attack the basket. You could see your shoulder. Now you're standing with your back to me, but I could see your shoulder slump, and you would turn around and say, basically, why don't they take the ball to the basket, or why are we throwing the ball sideways instead of going north and south?
Yeah, we went a little bit east to west there in transition when I think we should have gone a little bit more north to south. But I think that'll come, and the more and more we get comfortable playing in this style and playing with each other, I just think you'll see the pace pick up even more.
You know, we talked about a lot of players so far. One player we didn't mention, I thought gave you great minutes on Wednesday night off the bench, was Ricky Waltman, because when Shea got into foul trouble, you needed minutes from the post. She played the most minutes she's played in a Purdue uniform.
Yeah, Ricky had a great game on Wednesday, and Ricky wasn't bad yesterday either. Shea was just so dominant that we just kept riding Shea, and you know, Ricky came in and she got caught for a couple moving screens yesterday, but at least she's trying to hit somebody. Oftentimes we whiff when we're setting screens, but Ricky was great on Wednesday, and I think she had 7 rebounds, 3 on the offensive end, and you know, scored a big bucket. And the best thing about Ricky on Wednesday in the first half, she dropped a couple passes that could have been layups, and she could be really hard on herself. In the second half, halftime I was like, hey, you're going to catch it, you're going to score, and this is exactly what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to need that from her moving forward, because Shea's going to get in foul trouble. Shea's going to have
I just
trouble.
told her not to. Come on now.
It's inevitable. We just know it, but we feel comfortable with Ricky there.
You cut your turnovers almost exactly in half yesterday. I think you went from 26 in the first game to, I believe, 14 yesterday, but you had 24 assists on 29 field goals, especially in the first half and then early in the third quarter. I thought you moved the basketball exceptionally well.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? Play both sides of the floor, get the defense to shift and move and work until you find the open shot. You know, obviously we want Madison to score a lot, and we're going to need Shea's points inside, but you know, I think it's going to kind of be a pick your poison. I think we've got to make up of a team where if the ball moves and pops, and you know, on any given night, somebody's going to get it going.
You know, I asked you this right after the game yesterday, but after you had a night to sleep on it, walking through that tunnel. Now, you had a practice game last week and had an exhibition game, but for playing for real yesterday, where everything counts, and you got the band back in there, you got the fans in there, were the chills going down your spine as you walked through?
I think there was a moment when I left the locker room before I got to the tunnel, but once I got to the tunnel, honestly, you know, it felt like, obviously the gym in Marion and the gym in Mackey Arena is a little different, but it felt like any other game, and the biggest thing for me is making sure that I felt good that our team was ready to compete and play hard.
You know, we had somebody from Facebook asking how hard it was to leave Marion when we were so successful there, and I think that the sweatshirt that you're wearing answers that question. It's your alma mater. This is home.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, but Purdue was going to be the only place that ever pulled me away from Marion. I loved what we built there, and then I know that's going to continue, but Purdue is home, and I'm blessed to be wearing these colors again.
All right, final segment of the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union is coming up. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
And beating Wisconsin for the second time this season. What does Boyer and the Badgers have to say about it? Pounded over by Boyer on the serve. There's Johnson, popped up by Demps. Hilly over to Ojo, rolls one over. Handled by the Boilermakers. Bump set, here's Newton. Stopped by Barnes. Hilly runs it to Redkey, reaching for it. It's near the net. It's tapped over by Bush. Demps waits for it. Hilly gets it back to Dana. This time more controlled, and it's popped up off the floor on match point by Hornick. Newton with the swipe. Demps with the stop. Redkey runs, tries to push down the line. Dugout Otek, left side. Newton popped up. Boyer off the board. Barnes saves it, and a free ball. Wisconsin lucky to keep it alive. Newton for the match. Boyer with the stop. Brought back in play by Barnes. Here's Ojo shoving it over. Free ball Purdue again on match point. Left side to Newton off of Barnes, and Purdue does it again. The Boilermakers beat the Badgers for the second time this season, and Wisconsin has company atop the Big Ten standings. Now a three-way tie.
He's putting in defense is critical. Saved a sub so that he has 3 back row players that can really do a good job in the backcourt to defend the ball. He's putting in another defensive player. He feels like defense is critical. Saved a sub so that he has 3 back row players that can really do a good job in the backcourt to defend the ball. Raven Colvin, gosh, I love that player.
We are tied in the 4th set, not anymore. Purdue off the challenge has grabbed the 23-22 lead.
Bush sealing the net perfectly.
Allie Hornung again with Purdue on a 3-0 run, trying to win in 4. Cook puts it down, and it is match point Purdue. Crowd staying in it, but they have to be stunned. McGraw keeps it alive. Miyabe.
This week's game plan is presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, home of the official credit union for Purdue fans. Learn more at purduefed.com. Like we mentioned earlier, we've got 5 games before our next radio show 2 weeks from tonight, and it starts on Wednesday night. The last time I was in Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois was 1999, and Purdue had just won the regional championship there to advance to the Final Four. So I'm hoping to get those same vibes when we go in against the Redbirds, but a team that's going to be tough to beat on their home floor because, again, coming from a non-Power 5 conference, they want a chance to beat the big people.
Absolutely. Hopefully we get those same good vibes that you had that year. What a special year that was. You know, it's their first home game, and we experienced a little bit of that at Western Kentucky, their first home game in, 2 years with fans in the stands. And so we understand what it's going to be, but Illinois State's a good ball club, and they're well coached, and they've got a lot of good pieces. Got some kids that can really score the ball from the outside and, good post inside, so we're going to have our hands full.
Dayton has traditionally been one of the best mid-majors year in and year out. You get them here on Saturday, and I haven't looked at them at all, but I can just guess that Dayton's going to have a pretty solid basketball team.
Yeah, I can attest to that I have not looked at them at all. I'm not somebody that can move on. It's always the next game for me. Yeah, and we'll see if we can get one on Wednesday, and then Wednesday night on that bus ride home, we'll dig into Dayton.
I do want to mention, though, your trip down to Florida, because traditionally Purdue has played in some sort of a holiday tournament, and it's not only important from the basketball standpoint, it's a great team bonding time. You're going to be away from home for a holiday, and your basketball family is your family on that trip.
Yeah, it'll be a fun it'll be a fun trip. I know. I think Shay said it too. We genuinely care about each other. We get along very well with each other right now off the court, and I think that you can see that really translate onto the court. Whether it's me and the staff or the players on the team, we kind of like being around each other.
I'm also guessing the weather in St. Petersburg, Florida, will not be hard to handle next week.
I think I looked today, and it's going to be in the 70s, so I will definitely take that.
What do you like the most, Katie, about your basketball team after the first week of the regular season?
I love how hard they play, and I think most importantly, I love to see them smiling and having fun. I mean, look at the opportunity they have. They get to wear Purdue across their chest. How many other kids across the country would dream of that opportunity to play college basketball, and they get an opportunity to wear the gold and black and represent Purdue, but they're having fun playing basketball, and it's definitely showing.
You said your goal here in season 1 was to have a team that had fun and was hard to beat. Mission accomplished in week 1. Let's see if we can keep it going to week 2.
We'll give it our best shot.
All right, good luck next week.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, don't forget the Boilermakers will have 5 games before our next show, which will be 2 weeks from tonight. It starts on Wednesday night, as Purdue will take on Illinois State. 7 o'clock tip. We'll have the action starting at 6:45. Saturday night, Dayton will come into Mackey Arena. That one will tip at 6 o'clock with a 5:45 start time. A week from tonight, Marshall is in town. That's a 7 o'clock start, again on 6:45. On Thanksgiving Day, after you've stuffed yourself with turkey and cranberries, you can listen to Boilermaker basketball as the Purdue Boilermakers take on West Virginia. That'll be a 5 o'clock start. And then Saturday, either an 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. tip against Florida State or BYU. Thanks to Wes Scott and Roger Forsyth. For head coach Katie Gearlds, this is Tim Newton. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. This is Boilermaker basketball from